Thank you very much, Peter. Right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the launch of, or the relaunch of the LTCOA into its new format of the UK Coach Operators Association. Welcome to all members of the existing association, prospective members, trade press, and industry partners. My name is Stephen Telling, as you can see on the screen now, and it's my privilege to be the chairman of the organisation and have been for a good many years. It's great to welcome you all here this morning. First and foremost, I'm going to make an apology, and I do apologise for this, but very, very unfortunately, my wife and partner for the last 48 years is not very well at the moment, and is unfortunately having to undergo some pretty major surgery in the next week, and we have to visit the specialist this morning. So I do apologise. I'm not going to be around for the whole meeting. I'm going to be leaving the meeting in the very capable hands of our board of directors. So I'll leave it with them, and make sure that you all have a very good meeting and have a full understanding of where we're coming from, why we've done what we've done, and the prospects for the future, which I am sure will be hopefully very interesting, give you all some grain and ground and a good look at the future operation of where the UK COA is coming from. And it's my pleasure to hand over to Mark Anderson, who's going to host the meeting for today, along with our other board of directors. Thank you, Mark. Look after yourselves. Have a really great meeting.
Did you do it on the Zoom thing?
Thank you, Steve. I think on behalf of us all, we wish you a successful meeting of your own this morning, and our thoughts and prayers are with you at this time. Welcome to everybody from me, Mark Anderson, Managing Director of London-based Anderson Travel and a proud director of the UK Coach Operators Association. The UK COA is a trade association for coach operators and administered by coach operators. Over the next 45 minutes, I will, with the help of some of my co-directors, take you through the reasons we are here today, how we hope to operate as a trade association, and what we will do to support and to advocate on behalf of coach operators throughout the UK. We will finish with a question and answer session, short one, we hope, and we would ask you to use the function at the top of Zoom to put your questions in a written format to Peter, please. Our membership is now over 50 companies, and they have asked us to do this. What better people to lobby and provide a voice for coach operators than their peers in an on-messaged and focused group, not tied down by other powerful voices representing other modes of vehicle transport or big business, who tend to dominate other organizations and whose message can be very different to what coach operators want. The past few years have been difficult for coach operators, with many challenges and more to come. ULEZ, clean air zones, PSVAR, and the drive to ultimate zero emissions, all taking place at this time. And if that is not enough, for the past 10 months, we have been dealing with the devastating effects to our industry of a worldwide pandemic. Of course, our health and those of our families and friends are the most important thing. But this period of a second lockdown is proving to be much harder for most than the first. The few green shoots we saw in terms of business starting to come back in August and September seem a distant memory now. And I think we all know a family member, a loved one or friend who have had this dreadful disease. Everything seems to be getting a bit closer to home. In terms of your businesses and the support that have been offered by government to get you through them, We know exactly what you have been going through. The opening debacle of hokey cokey grant provision, we were in, we were out, we were in, and finally we were out, centered around, were we to be considered a leisure industry or not? If so, we would receive a 10 or 25,000 pound grant and rates relief. This turned into a postcode lottery. In my case, it meant 2 of our 3 locations were successful and 1 was not. But my God, we had to fight for it. Many of you I know were less successful.
Mark, I'm really sorry. Can I just pause you for a minute? Because I'm going to have to mute everybody because there's a lot of background interference, and then I'll unmute you. I'm really sorry. So I'm just going to mute everybody just for the moment. Sorry, I should. Apologies. Right, no. Right, sorry. I mean, I'll come out and I'll mute, and then I'll have to go back in again. I do apologize. Right. Mute all. Now I'll unmute Mark. Right. And share screen.
So, can you
That's
hear me
right.
now?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Can you see me now? Can you hear me? I'm on the bus. Right, okay. Phoenix Nights, sorry. You got me all worked up there, Peter, and then you've let me all back down again. And a 58-year-old man can only get worked up once a month, as you must know that by now. However, I will carry on. In other areas, at Anderson Travel, we've had to make sacrifices. We've mothballed our day trip and short break program for international visitors because there are none, and have refocused when able to on home to school transport. I am out driving every day, and Hannah, my long-suffering significant other, has taken and passed her PCV license as well. Buy me something big and expensive to celebrate, she told me. So I did. A 19-seat Mercedes Sprinter with Illis bus bodywork. And she is out in it every day, running from Wimbledon to a prep school in Putney and back. When she calls me now, it's not the angelic, hello, darling, how are you anymore? Oh no, it's, hello, it's Anna here, one of your drivers. So you see, we know what coach operators are going through up and down the land, as we are going through it ourselves and have the battle scars to show. We feel that pain. Indeed, when the past year is resigned to history, and the lasting memory for me will not be of a government minister or a department official or the voice of those who were at the time responding for the industry. Oh no, my memory will be of a rather wonderful woman from the Northeast and an 8-year-old boy from Gloucestershire who did more in terms of publicity for our industry than any communications department could. The sight and sounds of so many vehicles in so many cities honking for hope is a memory that will always live with me. And that message is so important. The media have moved on from talking to faceless officials from departments of transport and for bodies claiming to represent the industry. They want a human interest story pinned onto a government policy, highlighting how it affects them. The UK COA can do that perfectly. We have been told that the coach industry has not made it clear so far what we want. Well, that's just nonsense. We would like a grant in order to pay some of the more pressing bills. We would like business rate relief for everybody. And the minister will love this one because it will cost her nothing. We want her to get the CEOs of all the major finance houses in one room and discuss and formulate a code of conduct for dealing with the many operators who have been forced into arrears as a result of the pandemic and zero business. Our employees have been really well looked after under furlough, and we thank you for that. But all that looking after will surely be wasted if after the pandemic there are no coach business left for them to drive for. And stop telling us that all these phoenix from the flames will rise up and take the vehicles on that have been snatched back. You would be even madder than mad to want to contemplate opening a coach company at this time. And using your home as a guarantee against the finance that you take out has got to be a thing of the past moving forward. So much of what has happened in terms of response to government action has left me cold in the last few months. Let me just give you one or two examples. In August, the minister used her Twitter account to tell all coach operators to speak to their local councils as funding for home to school extra services had been approved by the government and there would be work for us. I am really sure she meant what she said, but in reality, that money went indeed to the local councils to administer, and they in turn handed it to their contracted partners, lots of big bus companies, leaving at most a few scraps for the coach sector. Just how was that allowed to happen? In relation to PSVAR, instead of an early and strong pushback from the government's position that home to school should be included in the legislation, the situation has been allowed to fester on until we reach the point now when we are only a few months away from its implementation and nothing has yet been amended apart from the minister stating that she understands our position. I know the Independent Bus Operators Association came out early in the press stating that home to school should be included in the legislation. I wonder why. We are all for inclusivity, but do not use a sledgehammer to crack a nut. And the £25,000 per conversion is not something many of us can afford. Be in no doubt, the UK COA would have defended coach operators from the get-go on this matter. In all these areas, I think a strong trade association for coach operators by coach operators can make a difference. One Transportation PLC described the coach industry in a summer press release as being made up of mainly family-run, disparate small concerns. A pretty disparaging remark, I had to say, but I think one which does resonate with government, the Department of Transport, and sometimes with people who are meant to be advocating on our behalf. We need to dispel this myth with a strong trade association run directly by coach operators. At this point, I would like to hand over to my colleague and friend, Neil Pegg from City Circle, who is going to talk to us a little bit about how we got to this position and drill down into those features. Over to you, Neil. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Mark. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for that, Mark. Good morning. I'm Neil Pegg, Managing Director of City Circle UK and a proud director of the new UK Coach Operators Association. I'd like to add my welcome to you all to this, the launch of the UK Coach Operators Association. It's great to see many long-serving members, more recent members, and I hope lots of potential new members too. From its inception as the London Tourist Coach Operators Association back in 1976, the association has always been about support and representation of its members. Initially created for those who operated services on behalf of incoming tourism, and at a time when such work was plentiful, this market was considered niche, and most members devoted most of their fleets to serving this specialist market. While still competing with each other on a daily basis, they came together for the common good to make life easier, make their businesses better, and ensure that the services offered to their customers was the very best it could be. In short, they had each other's backs, and that philosophy continues through to this day and into the new UK Coach Operators Association. Then, as today, members experienced difficulties that impacted on their day-to-day operation, and the association provided them with a platform to discuss, challenge and solve many of the problems of the day. At the time, I'm sure they were convinced that the problems they were encountering were the epitome of such. Who could have thought some 45 years later on that the industry would be facing the level of issues, many that Mark has already referred to, that it is, and also be in the grips of a global pandemic. Over the years, incoming tourism patterns changed, often involving less coach hire in its packages, as well as being continually interrupted by events around the world. Members changed their focus. They diverged into many other coach markets and cast their nets beyond London's boundaries. Likewise, the association changed. It developed and grew to reflect the ever-changing fortunes of its members, and of course, the diversity of the markets within which they operate. The change for the association was as progressive as its members, and it brings us to where we are today. An organisation with history, an organisation with pedigree, and a desire to support, promote, protect, and enhance the fortunes of its members. Membership continues to grow from all over the UK, and this has been our driver that led to the step change and the rebranding to the UK Coach Operators Association. The new name reflects the diversity of the companies we represent and our ongoing involvement in the UK-wide coach industry. Recently, we welcomed our 50th member, York Pullman, and further members have joined in recent days. The association already represents members with a combined fleet of over 1,500 vehicles, and in addition, over 2,500 employees. The organisation has and always will be led by its members. The new name change is a good example of this, particularly as new members from around the country now outweigh those joining from the London area. This is a statistic that was highlighted throughout 2020. As I've already mentioned, the association adapts and reflects the needs of its members. It's true to say that the pandemic has highlighted those needs that cover all aspects of coach operations and not just tourism. Contact and engagement with its members has always been paramount. Throughout 2020, our usual face-to-face meetings that were held every 1 or 2 months have been replaced by up to fortnightly Zoom meetings. This has not only dramatically increased attendance, but sparked lively debate and valuable input. And most importantly, gives the membership the opportunity to speak directly to the board on every occasion. I'm sure that this will continue in the future, most likely with a combination of both Zoom and face-to-face meetings, once of course protocol allows. And an end to the pandemic will also see the return of the association's social functions, trips, dinners, and of course the legendary dinner dance, widely regarded as the best in the industry. And I know for one that I can't wait until the next one and will not need any excuse to let my hair down when it happens. I'd like to formally welcome our most recent members whose names appear on the slide in front of you. Our 50th member, York Pullman, as I've already mentioned, and our most recent, Applegate, with of course a special hello to Theo. Finally, I'd like you to take a moment to introduce yourself to the board of the UK Coach Operators Association. All are familiar names that you'll know either personally or professionally or by reputation. All with years of industry experience and importantly, all still working at the coalface today. All of them sharing the same pains and frustrations at this difficult time for our industry. And most importantly, all of them are approachable. Contrary to what you might think, I was not a founding member of the association, but have been involved for over 35 years, 4 of those as proud chairman of the association. Indeed, getting City Circle into membership was one of the first things I did when it was formed 21 years ago. Why? To be part of an organisation whose members share the same pride and passion for their businesses and, of course, our industry. A shared determination to deliver the best service, to overcome obstacles, to share each other's pain and praise each other's achievements. An organisation that listens to and respects its members, born out of a genuine desire to help and stand side by side in support of them. Being a member offers so much more than value for money. Having someone in your corner that cares, that's priceless. Thank you for listening. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Neil. I would now like to ask Kevin Wild from Mitch & Bell to talk about the future trajectory of the UK COA. What are we going to do moving forward, please, Kevin?
Well, firstly, Mark, thank you very much for that rousing introduction to the meeting. It's superb, and thanks to Neil for his synopsis of the history of the LTCOA. Moving on to the UK COA. Can I say good morning to everybody and welcome to the meeting. It's an absolute pleasure to be here today and to speak on behalf of the UK COA. I'm Kevin Wild. I'm MD of Mitch & Bell Coaches, second generation family-run coach company and firmly in SME status that has been suffering from the ramifications of the pandemic, the same as we all have. In terms of moving forward with the UK COA, our intention is to work with our current industry partners, develop new strategic contacts, aid and formulate decision-making for our sector. Importantly, this will include other trade bodies as and where appropriate to give a true strength in-depth approach. Another pivotal goal for the UK COA is to truly represent views of our members and henceforth provide a unified voice and presence for the industry. The industry we have toiled to grow, develop, nurture over many years. We will also collaborate with central and local governments, traffic commissioners and the DVSA in a true spirit of cooperation to provide a greater understanding of the vital role we operators play in both essential transport provision and also in tourism. Conversations that are again pivotal for ensuring the importance of the industry is fully recognised and appreciated and is not considered to be a lost sector. Returning to the government, the UK COA already has a direct link in the form of the all-parliamentary group for the road passenger transport industry. And as stated before, we will also fully utilise our industry partners and contacts built over many years to open direct dialogue with the Department of Transport and the political decision makers. We would like to approach things in a different way by asking, what is the government's agenda for the coach industry? What can the sector expect from local and central government? And how can the current dire situation regarding coronavirus be rectified or solved? Our mission is to prove to central and local governments that our sector needs to be fully recognised and assisted for the massive benefit it provides to the UK community, not just to GDP, but to society in general. And the questions we ask and the points we raise will concentrate purely and solely on the coach sector. So, what will UK Coach Operators Association provide for your membership fee? Over and above the representation previously outlined, we will provide fully operational crisis control center, give 24/7 emergency cover with specifically designated contacts. We are also currently developing a compliance assistance section to give operators ongoing support with regulatory matters to make your life easier. Also, part of our ongoing focus is looking at the real issues facing the industry at this time and into the future. We have subcommittee working groups currently active on PSVAR, Section 19 and 22, with both legislation and enforcement, and strategy, which includes, this list is not exhaustive, the future of diesel, ultra-low emission zones, clean air zones, alternative fuels and electrification, and obviously, and very importantly, the ramifications of the coronavirus. So, lastly from me, it's of paramount importance to remember that the UK Coach Operators Association, run by coach operators, for coach operators, for the benefit of the coach industry. And as such, when there are times when you think, oh my God, what can I do now? Remember that the UK COA is here, and it's here for you as a coach operator. We have regular Zoom meetings where you can have the opportunity to have your say, and with your input, the UK COA will continue to grow, evolve, and develop into a major force for the. Thank you, and back to Mark.
Thank you, Kevin. And now I would like to call on Anthony Marriott from Marriott's Chariots, who will be looking after our social media and other media channels for the UK COA. Good morning to you, Anthony, and over to you.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much to everybody that has spoken so far today, and to everybody that has joined as well. Just a very, very brief history on myself and my involvement in the coaching industry. Unusually for a coach operator, I came into coaching very late in life, no experience of running a coach company at all. My parents run a field study centre, I was an instructor. We started a coach company to ferry the children around, realised just how hard it was, and spent the last 22 years building it up to be, I think, hopefully a well-respected, very successful coach company. Alongside that, at the same time, we started Don't Travel Empty, and I think I'm a fairly new member of the UK COA, only having joined in June, and I think that I've got a unique overall position in running a coach company, whilst at the same time being at the absolute forefront of technology. And so I'll be very proud to represent the UK COA with the technology offering. And we see that there are three main areas that the UK COA can help coach companies and the coaching industry in general. The first one is technology to promote the coaching industry. Now, historically, we feel that the coaching industry hasn't had any bad press, it hasn't had any good press, it just has not received any press at all of any note. And I think that there's an opportunity now, using the platforms that we have, to really promote the coaching industry, not just to the government, but to the general public in particular as well. The main areas of promotion to get the benefits of coach travel across to the populace are the fact that it is an incredibly clean industry and getting cleaner by the day. It is incredibly cost effective. There are very few other more cost effective methods of transport than traveling by coach. Modern coaches nowadays are just fantastically comfortable. They're state of the art 21st century spaceships. Effectively, they're just works of art. They really are. We need to promote just how brilliant coaches nowadays are, and also just how convenient they are. They will pick you up from where you want to be picked up from, drop you off where you want to go. There should be much more publicity, and we think that we've got the ability to promote the coaching industry. If you think about just recently and just how much government policy was changed by a footballer and Twitter, then you'll get an idea of where we're thinking. But it's the beauty of it is it's a collective thing. It isn't going to be the UK COA on our own. Every coach operator can play a part in it. The second area where we see our assistance being useful is technology to market your business. I alluded at the beginning that I'm in quite a unique position to run a coach company, but also be developing management systems, websites, all manner of different things, and I'm seeing how beneficial using technology can be. It is scary. You have to get used to it. It is different. It's a brave new world, but it can make an enormous difference to the profitability of your business. In fact, a business that uses technology and then the data that technology produces is 3 times more likely to be successful than those that aren't. And we're here to hold your hand every step of the way and to help you embrace technology rather than be afraid of it. And then finally, technology of the future. The coaching industry has effectively been around for getting on for 100 years now. 1925 was the first coach service between London and Bristol, and the first 75 years, a few things changed, but not a great deal. The last 20 years, everything has changed, and we think that the next 20 years, everything will change again. Some change will be for the better, some might not be, but it will change regardless of whether we want it to or not. And our job at the UK COA is to be ahead of the curve and to keep our membership ahead of the curve in all manners of things that will occur, and make sure that we're part of the decision-making process rather than reacting to it. So that's my role in the UK COA, and thank you very much indeed for listening.
Thank you, Anthony. We've already had one question in, which we can close off now as we go through. Anthony, there has been rumblings on social media and other channels that a lot of people were thinking it would be a good idea if you started your own trade association under the Don't Travel Empty banner, yet you've joined us. Explain, please.
Thank you for putting me on the spot, Mark. You're right. Don't Travel Empty as a membership scheme is well placed, I suppose, to use the membership and the contacts we have to do what the UK COA is doing. And probably we've been asked a lot about it ever since we launched, but more so, absolutely more so in the last year. And if I'm 100% honest, then around about probably April or May time, it was something that myself and my business partner sat down and discussed at length. The primary reason for not doing it is independence. I think there's a big difference between running a business for a profit and running an association for an industry. And I think that the UK COA is a vehicle for that, with the independence it has, and the fact that it's a collection of operators all promoting each other, means that it's in our opinion a better vehicle for an association than Don't Travel Empty. But enormously flattered for the people think we we're able to do it. But I think if we focus on what we're doing at Don't Travel Empty and use the skills from Don't Travel Empty's technology side to help the UK COA and our members, I think that's the perfect marriage.
And we are delighted to have you on board, Anthony, and you have definitely made the right choice. Thank you very much, and well answered. At this point, we are going to prove beyond reasonable doubt that men, in fact, can multitask. We're going to head over to Peter Bradley, who is not only controlling this Zoom meeting, but he is now going to tell us what is on offer and how people can join the UK COA. Over to you, Peter. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much indeed, Mark, for your introduction. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You're very welcome to join us on this launch event. So I'm really just going to probably reiterate one or two things about actually what a lot of people have covered already, and then just go and mention exactly how you can join us should you want to. So the UK COA, as I think has been said already, is a member-led organisation. So it is actually we are concerned about the issues that you raise or impact you. and that we want to make very, very clear. Is almost you're the, it is the membership that sets the agenda. We can issues can be raised at meetings through email, through the meetings themselves, through the website or social media, and we will always do our best to provide you with an answer, point you in the right direction. We recognise that an issue that can affect companies in different ways, and we recognise that every coach company, big or small, is unique and special, and therefore we need to be able to deal with those issues in the way that they affect your individual circumstance. And we have an expert panel of advisors. Yes, our members, and you can be assured that if you're experiencing something, then another member is also experiencing something similar. And as the old saying goes, a problem shared is a problem halved. So how can you join us? Well, we have basically 3 levels of membership. It's open to all coach operators who have a valid O license and insurance. As I said, a very simple subscription rates differing on the size of the company, and the details there are on the screen for you. But the incentive for this year is that we will offer a discount of £100 if an applicant successfully introduces a new member to the UK COA. I say this is a launch offer; it can only be used once, but hopefully this will encourage you to find a colleague to come and join us. And in addition, we will have industry partners at different levels. We're still working through this, and we will announce more details a bit later. But at this point, I want to say a big thank you to Rightshaw, who have served the LTCOA as an industry partner for many, many years. And we're going to please they will continue within the UK COA as one of our platinum members. So thank you to Rightshaw, and I'm actually really grateful to them for all that they have done. And finally, let us not forget that actually coach travel is a means to an end. People travel to get somewhere. However, we can make sure that the experience that they have is as pleasant as it possibly can be. By its very nature, it's not very high profile. However, it is quietly efficient, getting on with the job day by day. And what's always impressed me is that it's not just, it's just the way that people do that. It's the operation of how that goes there. And also that it's called upon always as in an emergency. So at the time when there've been some terrible atrocities in this country and everything, it's often the coach that is there first and foremost, carrying people to where they need to be. And finally, we need to ensure that the coach industry is recognised for what it does. It's multifaceted and it meets a diverse set of demands, big and small. I can hardly think of another industry where actually the coach during the day can be used for such a different range of things, from home to school transport, to coach tourism, to taking a group out in the evenings. It's there, and everybody there that is working within the industry deserves that recognition. Mark, thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. And now we move forward onto a question and answer session. The first question is in, and this one is for Kevin Wild. Going forward, how will we deal with other trade associations? Kevin.
That's a very good question. In terms of moving forward, it's absolutely imperative that we have a constant dialogue with other trade associations. It's in terms of how we have to view ourselves is that we're working solely for coach operators, and therefore we want the best possible outcomes in whichever format that may be. So therefore, it's a great position to be in, that we can operate with them. We get the best possible answer for our industry at that moment in time. I hope that answers your question. I flapped a bit there. I do beg your pardon. But that's the important part. The important part is to have the dialogue and ensure that we can actually produce the optimum result for our industry. and that will mean that we can speak by the trade associations.
I think that's very clear. I think there are times where we will easily align with what other trade associations are saying because we're saying the same thing. And what we won't be doing is kicking lumps out of each other. This organisation is going to move forward in a productive and a positive way. It's not in our interests or in our desire to criticise others. We will get on. But when we feel that our position as coach operators differs from what other trade associations might be purporting, then we will say that and we will move forward with that message. So well answered, Kevin. That was great. A question for Neil Pegg. How big do you think this organisation can grow, Neil?
That's a good question. Well, every organisation must have its ambitions, and they should be set as high as possible. I'd love to think that the steady growth that we've had over 2020 is replicated time and time again, and increased going forward over the next weeks and months, and as a result of what we've done with the launch of the new association today. Sky's the limit, the more the merrier, but importantly, there's security in numbers. That's the first thing, but the numbers within an association, I already mentioned in my speech, the significant number of vehicles that we represent and staff. The more members that it has, that an association has, the stronger push, the stronger the focus, the stronger our representation will be when we're talking to the appropriate people, the people in positions of power. It's far better to say that we represent X thousands of vehicles and members rather than hundreds. So to quote another organisation's famous phrase, come and join us. Let's make it as big as possible. It'll always be as friendly as possible. It'll always be contactable. We'll always be in touch with everybody. Nobody will be just a number. But yeah, I would like to see it getting a lot bigger. Reach for the stars, as they say.
Thank you, Neil. We have another question at this point, which I'll précis, and that is to suggest, are you proposing membership of the UK COA to replace membership of CPT or other organisations, or for the membership of UK COA to complement membership of CPT? That's a question, I think, for Peter Bradley. Peter, okay. What are your views on this, please? Or what are our views on this?
So at the end of the day, thank you very much indeed for the question. We're not actually looking to replace anybody. We are, again, it is up to membership to decide whether they want to belong to one trade association or more than one trade association. And we've certainly got not any strong views on that. All we're interested in is actually being able to represent coach operators in the best possible way. And it may be, depending on what you do and the size of your company, that you want to belong to more than one trade association. And that is not, that is entirely up to you. We're not there to dictate to you what you want to do or how you want to do it. And we will continue to work with, as Mark has already said, and other people have said, with other trade industries. Our views may differ, and we can have an honest and forthright discussion on that. But actually, we're not interested in being in competition. We're interested in actually working together for the good of the coach industry, and that's what we will do. And I think going forward. So at the end of the day, we're not proposing anything for anybody to replace one thing with another. All we're doing is encouraging people to join the UK COA in an industry that will actually just represent the coach.
Thank you, Peter. Another question, this one I think for Anthony. Are there plans to move on to other social media platforms in the future? Anthony?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that at the moment we're Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, but we've only really rebranded in the past week. So our philosophy will be to get the message to as many people as possible via whatever medium is the most effective. And there may well be, when we were talking about technology of the future, when Don't Travel Empty first launched and we built the first version, there were no apps, there were no smartphones. We had no idea that we were going to have to redesign the entire site to be mobile friendly. So exactly the same with where the UK COA goes. We want to be proactive when it comes to technology rather than reactive. And just because Twitter and Facebook and Instagram are massive at the moment, there could be some eager person building something that is going to be the next big thing. And it's up to us to make sure that we're utilising every tool available to us to promote the coaching industry.
Thank you, Anthony. And another question, and this is drilling down a little bit into the foundations of our organisation. Do we have support, advice from a transport solicitor or other agencies that can give us a good legal platform underneath? Now, we've talked about our crisis control offering already, I believe. It's out there. Peter Rice, at this point, Peter Rice, another one of our directors. I'm going to put you on the spot, Peter Rice, if you can hear me. And I know you spoke very eloquently about it in a board meeting recently. What are we going to do to underpin the organisation in the short to medium term in terms of a legal framework? Peter, you're free to speak.
So I'm not totally sure, to be honest, what to answer.
Well,
I'm really
so that's all right. That's all right, Peter. I put you on the spot there with that one, and I apologise.
I don't want to say something that I shouldn't. So
no, that's absolutely fine. I mean, basically, we've already decided that what we will do going forward is we have a crisis control as a starting point. We've already made the first steps towards compliance manuals and the whole minutiae of what we need to actually underpin an organisation, so you can feel absolutely, completely confident that the offering that we're making, the advice we're giving, how we're doing it, is on message, relevant, and accurate. And I think that would be a sufficient answer to that question. And again, I apologise, Peter. I caught you at a moment. A question, the final question for now is, as with all successful organisations, membership interaction is key. This is not the AA or RAC. Sharing our views and voice is the only way we will represent the UK coach industry. That is the right way in these difficult times. So again, Anthony, would you pick up on that, please? What I think this is from Tom James. It's about interaction. It's about getting the views of the membership before we construct policy. Anthony.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant point, and I think, if I'm honest, with my coach operators hat on, as a member myself of the UK COA, I think it is probably the single defining feature that appeals to me about what we're doing, because coach operators will have views that are salient and relevant, and I think that listening to your members and taking their thoughts and using those thoughts as part of policy is utterly crucial. I can't overemphasize how important to us it is, because the UK COA isn't a body that a coach operator will just be a member of. It is a body that the coach operators actually form. So, any ideas, any interaction, any policy decisions, basically anything at all. The meetings that I've been involved with so far. Everybody's involved, everybody's asked their opinion, everybody puts their opinion in, and as we grow we'll have to manage that so that meetings don't go on for 2 or 3 days. But the fact is that every single person that is on this meeting today, every single member of the UK COA today, and every future member of the UK COA is as important as everybody else. And I'll just go back and reiterate what Kevin said and what Mark said and what Neil has said, that is a coach operator organisation run by coach operators for coach operators. So if as a coach operator you don't interact with the UK COA, then you're missing a huge opportunity. But knowing coach operators as I do, I think you probably will.
Thank you, Anthony. And a final question for Peter Bradley. Will the UK COA have a place and therefore a voice on meetings such as the CPT Coach Commission and on RHA Forum? This, the questionnaire suggests, would allow a clear discussion and communication channel. Peter, yeah. I think we have something relating to that very recently. So over to you, Peter, to answer the last question.
Yeah, we do, and thank you to Nathan Hadley for asking this question. We do actually, and just to perhaps give a little bit of background, we do try, as I've said before, we do try and work with other trade bodies, and we have had a good working relationship with the CPT. We may not always agree with everything that he said, but actually, nevertheless, as the question says, it's actually having a voice and a clear, the ability to have a clear discussion and communication channel. And actually, recently, the CPT have invited us on to have a place on their coach commission, which we are very grateful for, and we will use that responsibly. And so that, I think, is a very good example of where we are actually able to work collaboratively. As I said, it may not necessarily be that the views will be there, but it gives us an opportunity to put the views forward of the coach operator forward, and to work, I say, collectively with the CPT. We're not always going to agree, but at least we're talking. And that's very, very important, I think, going forward, because I think collectively that gives everybody a much stronger voice. And when you're dealing with government and with politicians and with some of the other key stakeholders, that is actually having that voice and having a collective voice is very, very important. I can't actually emphasize that enough. It is much better to be able to say you've got a much bigger weight behind you that you're representing when you're dealing with certain key stakeholders.
Thank you, Peter. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, if we were invited to do something similar with the RHA, then clearly we would consider that as well. We're not saying no to anybody, but we are. I didn't even say we are grateful to the CPT for giving us that seat on the coach commission.
Thank you, Peter, for that, and that concludes the question and answer session, and also concludes the launch. If I could use a little bit of Peter Kayism. What we've had this morning, we hope, is a little bit of garlic bread here in the UK COA, a little taste of the future. It is time to our members. We say thank you very much for the mandate. And now we will not let you down, and we will act in the best interests of all our members and all coach operators. To our supplier partners, I say thank you. Thank you for being a part of what we do. It is not going to be that we take your money and run for the hills. We will hold your hand and we will walk you through this. It is absolutely vital that supplier partners are every part of this organization. We will give you access to our membership. We will give you an opportunity to understand what coach operators up and down the country are thinking and how they're acting, and an opportunity for you to be able to put your products to at least 50 people at any one time. And to those people listening in, interested but not sure if they'd like to join the UK COA, then I can tell you this. In my spare time, I'm a director of the local non-league football club, Kingstonian, and I know what it's like to lose. But what has hurt so much over the last 6 or 9 months has been the manner of those defeats, the way We just seem to be ignored throughout of all of this. And I feel sure that a strong trade association for coach operators will be the thing that enhances our ability to get things done. We cannot win every battle, but I'm absolutely sure that a strong association for operators, by operators, is a step in the right direction. And finally, to our media partners that are on here today, I would say thank you for attending. Please look favorably on what we've been saying this morning and continue to comment and write about us. We have been for too long the Cinderella of a Cinderella industry, and it's time now for the coach operators of this country to get their glad rags and their handbags out and get out into this new dawn and actually do something for the industry. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. We are now going to move on in 2 minutes to our main meeting this morning. I think it's time now for the press to leave us, to say big thank you to them again for attending. And we will start in 3 minutes time with the main meeting. Those of you that are not members are welcome to stay for this open meeting today. Thank you very much. Thank you.